Hey, everybody, welcome to the Cyber Melee, the MSP Cyber Melee. And if that video exploded your eardrums, apologies.
But they can't hear your apology now.
No,
Yeah, no one can hear our apology now. So if you are watching this live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you happen to be scrolling by and you don't know what this is, welcome. You stumbled across the MSP Cyber Melee. If you are on this call right now, or you are in the virtual studio as a contestant, you should already know what this is, I hope, at least a little bit. But yeah, so just for context, for those of you who have stumbled in and are watching this live, the MSP Cyber Melee is an initiative that Martin White and myself put together with our dear friends who all you see on the screen here in front of you several months ago. And the thought process behind it was MSPs and IT providers in our world are the unsung hero of their customer when it comes to protecting protecting the world, everybody, right? And we wanted to have something a little fun for you all. So this is a competition. Everyone who is a contestant today went through a round one qualifier. They signed up, they registered, they either represent an MSP, work for an MSP, or an IT provider themselves. And they had some scenarios emailed to them that they had to respond to and qualify to participate in the live melee today. The stakes are high. $1,000 Amazon gift card to the winner. Anyway, this is how it's going to go down today. If you are a contestant, I'm about to drop a link in the chat to the rules for this engagement and how you participate. So I believe I drop it in the general chat for the webinar folks here. If you're a contestant, do please verify that you can see this link and use it to join. I'll need some people in the chat to verify that they are getting that. But I'm also going to share my screen here.
Black screen. All blank. There we are.
It was redacted for security purposes.
I think we redacted the commentator too. Going live.
I don't know what happened. I'm here. Guys, man, if you were in the virtual studio before we went live, my camera was bugging out and all kinds of stuff. These are the joys of doing things live. So thanks for hanging in there with us. All right.
Avi says I can clicky the link. So it looks like Avi can clicky link.
That's right.
Travers can clicky link.
All right. So a few things on this page before we get started. There's 7 rules and only 7. What's going to happen is we're going to spin a wheel. The scenario will pop up on screen. One of the judges will read the scenario, and you will have 5 minutes to submit a response. If you scroll down on that page, you will notice there are 7 forms, short forms for you to fill out. It's on you to make sure you're corresponding with the right question, okay? So you can only submit one answer per scenario. So don't submit your second one in the scenario 1 box. Scroll down to scenario 2. You're all adults. I think you can figure that part out. You'll have 5 minutes to submit your response. Anything that's submitted after that will not qualify. And yes, they will be time stamped. So be within the time limit. I mean, we'll be a little gracious because of internet stuff. I hope we can be gracious because I have to be gracious for myself as well. But anyway, you need to include the same email address that you registered for the melee with. If you do not, then we won't be able to attribute the answer to you. So if you don't remember what you signed up with, go check your email because that's where all the stuff has been going to you for. You can answer the window, or you can expand the window by clicking and dragging it. If you're looking at this, like that's a really skinny field, you can click here in the corner and make your window larger so you can view your text. Some of your answers will be longer than just a quick, sentence answer. And then only 1 response per scenario. Duplicate responses will be counted as 0. And then the last rule, responses should be your own. If you're using search engines or AI, we better not be able to tell. All right. So there's a challenge for those of you who were coming in with ChatGPT. If you use it, we just can't tell. All right. Gentlemen, questions about the format today, and then we'll introduce our judges. Have any observations or questions? Let me pull everybody over.
We're back.
We're back.
All right. Judges, did you hear everything on the rules of engagement?
Yeah, we still heard it. We were just backstage.
Yep.
We're good.
Okay. This was my first time dealing with different scenes in StreamYard. So welcome to being my guinea pigs, everybody. Thanks for your patience. All right. Clear as mud. I would like everyone to go around and introduce themselves. For those of us who are just rolling in on LinkedIn and stumbling across this, I'm your host, Jonathan Schofield. My friends call me Scofie, and I'm the least qualified cyber expert on this call. My role that I'm doing amazing at is Master of Ceremonies and organizing all the StreamYard crap and making sure cameras and mics work. And so encourage me.
Doing great, buddy. You're doing great.
Oh, stop
Looking
it.
good so
Thank
far.
you. Thank you.
The stream started.
Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our judges. We've got Martin White, founder and CEO of Tech ID Manager. We have the cyber Matt Lee here with Pax8 and a myriad of other things that he's got in his world. Matt Topper of ConnectWise, Kyle Spooner, MSP Geek, and Ninja One. And everyone on this channel, I know personally, has a tremendous heart for our community and our space. And all of these gentlemen want to see our contestants crush it today. That being said, there can be only one champion. So without further ado, we are going to roll into our first scenario. But before we do, I guess there will be further ado. How are you feeling, judges? What do you think of this?
I think it's cool. I'm super excited. Like, this started as an idea in February. We had a meeting, talked about it in April, and then we finally got here. It's been a while.
That's right. That's right. It's been a journey, man. It's been a journey.
It sounds fun. I hope it's challenging and has some good ideas sparked. I think the first one you just showed was something that Topper and I literally wrestled with directly, and perhaps made a bad decisions there. So hopefully you won't make the same bad decisions we made. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fun exercise. And Topper, I didn't know you and I wound up wearing like matching but opposite bracelets somehow today. I'm not sure how this worked out, but I think I saw you wearing a bracelet of similar ilk.
I mean, it just continues our theme of like being opposite sides of various coins all over the place.
It does. It does indeed, friend. Yeah, happy to be here, guys.
All right, let's do the thing. So, judges, you should all still be here when you see this wheel, right? And you can hear.
No. I think you have again scrubbed off the other two, but myself, Martin.
I don't know how. I see Matt Lee and Martin, but everyone else isn't here. All right. Well, then we will spin the wheel and see what our first question is. Here we go.
Some more technical research for the next one. We'll figure out how to get everybody on the screen.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right. Incident response outline, active ransomware. That is scenario I. So now I'm going to pull it up, and this should bring all of our judges back, I think. Oh, I have to add you to stage. All right.
Rushing it, dude.
Matt Topper, why don't you take it away? As soon as he's done reading this scenario, then the timer starts. You have 5 minutes to respond. Go ahead, Matt.
I think I'm backstage still.
No, we got you, bro.
Okay. Write an outline for an incident response plan for a cybersecurity event where a computer is slowly getting ransomware while you and MSP Tech are logged into it.
And the timer has begun. Gentlemen, have you seen this in the wild? I'll pull this up. I'll pull us back on stage here.
Yeah, I'll say I've seen this in the wild, unfortunately, especially when you have something that's like login centric. One of the ones I've seen before was Soda Nokibi used DNS.bat file that was set up in your startup folder to execute something from in memory from Pastebin. And so you could see that playing out where as you're sitting there, those ransom notes start popping up and the files start getting encrypted or vice versa. So yeah, this definitely has happened. I would say, let's say allegedly to me. So yes, I know this has happened.
Yeah. It's definitely rarer though. Like usually you end up getting called after
Yeah.
that's happened.
I have been walking down the hallway and heard somebody yell out, and then walk in their office and look over their shoulder and seeing files change names and get encrypted as they're
Yep.
like trying to do what they're due for their remote session.
Joe Goldstein asked, logged in remotely or at the device? I'd say dealer's choice in this case. And I'd even allow, in my opinion, y'all judges disagree or agree, the context of you have been presented this by a user that you did not yourself happen upon, right? So this could absolutely be, anybody disagree with that, Matt, Topper? Or
No, I think that makes sense.
Okay. So for context, if you're answering this, you could have walked into this as a tech at a help desk, and Sally or Bill are going, I don't know what's happening here, but something's getting weird and I can't see. And it's just that slowest dog shit old machine that's been sitting around. That's the only reason it's taking so long, is there's no AES offload chip. And it's so freaking old that it's on spinning platter, 5,400 RPMs. That's barely able to keep a spinning motion in a circular plane on the Z axis, right?
And you're hearing it go chunk, 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 chunk.
Yeah.
But I think we'll reject answers of the form of it turned out somebody stored their GitHub repo in Dropbox.
Oh, that's funny, actually. It was,
Why
sounds
is all
like a
these
gentleman.
files changing?
That's delicious.
Or Git repo, I guess, not GitHub.
I follow what you're going with, though. I made the context jump there. Spooner, do you still sound like an alien?
Probably.
Yes! That's awesome. He sounds amazing.
It's life. It's all this week.
Actually, Spooner, what you are demonstrating right now is resiliency. And here's what I mean by that. That mixer board had an entire cup of soda or coffee or something spilled on it.
No, I have no idea. Like, someone was like, "Hey, you're having audio issues," and nothing has changed in my setup for months.
Okay.
Oh,
And I was cleaning out like cords and removing stuff that I didn't need on my desk anymore. I was looking at it, and I discovered that there is some substance in the
Are you
middle of my
USB or are you direct
3.5 millimeter audio.
from the mic out? I mean,
No, I have a XLR mic, so I was sure going to a cloud,
okay, great. Yeah,
going to a mixer, and then
I would
into
look
the
for
PC.
anything with power running over that analog aspect. That's what it sounds like. Is
I've got a new
power
mixer. It'll be here tomorrow. It was supposed to be
Okay.
here yesterday, but Amazon was like, "No."
Sorry, we weren't supposed to talk about audio gear, were we? We were because the show.
I would just speak the rest of this event this way, y'all, in the Cyber Melee. This is my new.
Stop being impressive.
Yeah.
I would look for kids. Kids are probably the problem.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could
I have
be.
an effect on my mixer too, but I'm not sure what would happen if I turned it on.
I think
Some
you have to do
electronics
that
you can
now,
put in the
though.
dishwasher.
Gentlemen, there is 1 minute left on the clock for your incident
Getting any
response
answers?
scenario. I'm refreshing the page and I'm trying to see. There's no submissions yet. They're probably using every bit of their time to.
So what are we thinking about? Like, what for me, if I'm stumbling on something like this, right? What's the first thing I think about? Topper, what do you think about?
So the first thing I think about is trying to figure out if is this manifesting on this machine or actually happening on this
Sure.
machine, right?
Yeah,
Do they have
sure.
a network share open and they're thinking it's actually on the machine, or
Yeah.
they're just getting the results in some way?
Yeah.
Probably I'm thinking like host isolation anyway.
Yep.
But from the investigative perspective, like I don't trust the user, obviously,
Yeah.
so I want to find out like where this actually originated.
And you're going where my brain goes too, which is I'm trying to figure out how broad is it, where is it, and I'm trying to ascertain where can I gain containment, right? Like if we're in manifestation of some form, we're watching it happen. To your point, is it happening at somewhere else on another remote host where the execution process is playing out, or is it happening locally on this one? But either way, the goal is to isolate those assets and stop it from growing out into more things, right? That's the goal I'd be thinking about.
That is time, not to interrupt the great discussion, but that is time. I have gotten a HubSpot notification that a few forms have come in. It might take a second. It might take
They
a
were
second
simulated.
to view them. I'm going to pull it up and see if I can see our responses here. Submissions. Yes, we do have a handful. Are you wanting to see them here? Are we wanting to pull them up here?
What do y'all want to do?
Let's pull them up.
Let's
I think
start the
that's
next
fun.
question
Let's,
and then pull up their answers while they're.
Okay,
answering
cool.
that
Yeah,
question.
we can do
That's
that.
a
Let's-
great
yeah.
idea.
It's almost like that was the plan from the beginning. Like that sounds like amazingly executed. As I would understand.
Absolutely.
Almost like
plan.
we thought about this in the past.
All right, I'm gonna have to
All right.
self-rate. I'm gonna relegate during these scenes. I'm just gonna drop. I don't want to leave my compadres hanging, man.
No, I'll bring them back in. All right. For question number 2.
Oh, I love this question. This is one of my favorite
All right.
ones. When I was
Convince
writing
the CEO of MFA. This is question H. I'm going to pull it up here and then bring all of our judges back on screen. It kicks Kyle and Matt because it doesn't like them. Kyle, I don't know if I should ask you. Do you have any audio? Take it away, man. Read this question for our contestants. The moment you
Are you
finish
sure?
reading it, the timer begins. Go ahead.
Write an email to convince a stubborn CEO the importance of doing MFA on their phone when only half the company has it enabled and he knows that.
All right, time has begun. Time has begun. We'll bring all our judges back here. All right. I think I'm just going to read the responses so that we don't
Like
like.
share any names or anything. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
The other thing I'll add to that real quick context of like convince them of doing it on their phone. I just want to add clarity. My point is really convince them of doing MFA, regardless of which methodology and one that your risk tolerance allows, right? So that's the only thing I'd add to that. I know on the phone might be misleading. Maybe I'm wrong, but that'd be my connection or correction on that.
that is such an interesting question. Like, I don't want to talk about my thoughts to it yet because everyone's still answering. But
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's one of the submissions from our last question. And there's 12 steps to this incident response plan. Number 1, assign an incident leader. Number 2, containment, disable lateral movements. They meant to say 3, they said 4. Determine if there was a compromise to credentials. Treat as compromise until determined. 4, preserve evidence, logs, screenshots, data. 5, track the impacted endpoints. 6, protect backups. 7, determine whether or not to pay the ransom. In parentheses, it says not. 8, reboot form backup once the attacker has been removed from the system. 9, threat hunt post restore to ensure all threats have been taken care of. 10, root cause analysis after the fact. And then 11, reporting. That was our first submission.
We only have 5 minutes to talk about this. Matt, I saw you get sparked hard, so go. I probably
Well,
sparked the
I
same
think-
things.
I'm going to assume we're thinking the same things, and that is many or most of those things are things to do, but these don't seem like they're in any kind of order,
Agreed.
really.
Well, that's the other piece of it too, is like other things that weren't mentioned, and I get it. 5 minutes is really short, so I won't beat this to death too much. Good stuff on containment, but you haven't done any investigation as to what things are for said containment. The other aspects is who's doing it. There's no speaking towards at what point do you have external knowledge and internal knowledge happening. Like when you're talking about threat hunting, is that you? I didn't hear engage insurance. I didn't hear determine scope or whether the scope means something around risk and whether there's reportability. I didn't hear those type of thematics. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Or
and so-
declare an incident.
or declaring an incident, having definitions of that incident. You did talk about incident commander, so maybe I'm making a freebie that you've already declared it an incident in your mind, and that's the point of why we're not hearing that. So, are there another one, Scofie?
Absolutely. I'm going to pull up this one here. All right. Here's what was submitted. Use our tools to isolate the device from the network. And then parentheses says stops the spread. And of course, we use Huntress. Capture any running process as possible. Capture Windows event logs. Document time of infection, observe behavior. Review rest of client environment for possible spread. Notify client of possible incident.
Yeah, I mean, those are all good tactical points. I think they
Yeah.
are extremely tactical. And so, from that approach, I mean, the things I already said before, notwithstanding,
It's just missing the administrative components, but the
Yeah.
what to do from a wrench steering perspective, that was pretty good.
We have 1 minute and 30 seconds before this next round is complete. So contestants, be prepared to submit your answer here very soon. I'll read one more here. Let's see. This one's a little long. I've been trained to follow the general outline of detect, analyze, contain, and then eradicate. So my training kicks in. As soon as I recognize that a foul is happening, I pull up my monitoring tools that will enable me to see the gathering evidence of a compromise. As I start to understand the evidence that I'm seeing, I'm also leveraging those tools to analyze the source of the ransomware. Depending on what the evidence is presenting me, there's a lot more here. I'm not be able to get it in a minute. But the end paragraph, my focus at this point, containment, depending on what the attack vector shows me, I focus on what was that as my primary goal. And then to basically triage and figure
He
out.
can come to lunch. He or she's in.
Yeah.
They're welcome to come to lunch. We're gonna sit down on good chats. I know that's gonna be a good one. So, yeah.
All right, 30 seconds, contestants, and then we'll roll into.
I'll
our
also
next
make an
point.
additional point of like, good job using a framework methodology to approach something, right? And you are approaching, in my mind, what I think is blast radius reduction, preservation of evidence, right? The ability to say what happened, the ability to say, hopefully, that no sensitive data was touched and that it wasn't meaningful from that perspective, from a confidentiality perspective, like those kinds of things. So, yeah, great. Containment makes a difference.
Yeah, I like that answer.
And
So
analysis was
containment,
great. Sorry, Matt.
Nope, I'm agreeing with you. You're good.
All right, we have 5 seconds left. Submit your answers. That's time. All right, and the answers are trickling in, and yeah, we're going to use a little discernment here and give the network connect. Like if you're like 5 seconds past, we're not going to dock you for
No,
that.
I'm giving 7 seconds, not 5 second abs, 7 second abs. Man. 5 seconds.
All right,
This is
we're
such a
gonna
cool
roll.
question. Like it's so easy to just say, just turn it on. I would love to hear how the contestants approach the idea of, okay, but you're not in a position to do that in the organization. Like, how do you phrase the "I'm going to do it anyway" conversation with your CEO?
Sure. Yeah, sure. And did anybody take that approach, right? Of I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, this is my decision here. And if you want to fight it, there is definitely another alternative down the street. I've met them. Anyways.
And just for clarification for all of our contestants, everybody's answer is going to be evaluated and graded.
Yeah.
We just only have time to pull out a few and discuss them a little bit. So, all right, Kyle and Topper, this is going to kick you backstage again, but I promise I'll bring you back.
And since they're going backstage, I'll go backstage. Y'all can have a backstage pass.
It's just for the spin. It's literally just for the spin. All right. Question number M corresponds with
I'm
this
out.
scenario. And I'll bring our other judges back to the stage. And Matt Lee, you read this one for us.
I feel that's quite appropriate. What is most important in an asset inventory and why? And I think this is speaking towards the fact that you have to choose. Like, I mean, where do you draw the line? There's a lot of assets you can track, but what is most important in asset inventory and why?
Love it. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, the time has started for your third scenario. And we do have some responses to our previous.
Also, shout out to Abby, to Travers, Liam Furlong. Like, Liam's in Australia, unless he's like snuck over somehow back to the US. But
Yeah.
awesome to
And
see you here, y'all.
That's right. And we got Ronald here, who's not participating today, but who has
But let's put
a
it
lot
in.
to say as well.
Yeah.
And then Jude's liking the answers he's seeing. So is Liam. And then I think I saw Abby say that can't type fast enough. 5 minutes is so short. Yes, it is. On the question of our last question, or let's look at some of the scenarios or responses we got there. All right. Here's the response. Hi, impressive CEO with title and things. Thanks for your
Amen.
engagement in the ongoing discussion about the role of MFA. MFA via the phone app remains the best tool we have in our defenses against cyber threats. It is challenging to acknowledge that many in the company have not taken the step of engaging with this security measure, but as the leader, you have the opportunity to demonstrate your value for protecting the company's data and reinforcing the importance of security at this time. Other measures we have simply do not add the protection you need, and as the CEO, I'd like to highlight that you are the priority target for someone looking to compromise the data of your company. We would like to work with you to navigate making this change. It may be that you have tried setting this up previously and had some challenges or seen others struggling. When can we call or visit to walk you through connecting? Kindest.
Sure.
This sounds like a ChatGPT response.
It does.
An email ChatGPT response.
But even if it isn't, it speaks towards, I think, some form of mice, right? Ego, hello, important CEO, blah blah blah, right? Some of that. But yeah, I would agree, Spooner. I feel like that might be.
Or at least something that's phrased in an email. By the way, is my mic better?
It is
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
I've
Way
been
better.
fighting and slowly winning. But ultimately, I do think that was like that's an email response that it's not a conversation that is taking place. It's a almost like a copy paste standard response to anyone with a slight edit at the top about how important you are. That's just what it feels like. I'm not saying this would happen, but
I mean, it was clearly written as an email template, and they must have perceived the scenario as that was how the communication was happening. I'm assuming.
sure. But like as a in my interactions as a technician talking to a CEO, they're just going to respond with I still don't want it.
Yeah.
Like that you've not convinced anyone.
Did we ask? Can I clarify? Did we ask them to respond as if they were writing an email?
Yeah,
we
we
ask
did
them
not.
to
Write an
email?
email.
Oh,
Was
it
that
did
what
say
they-
email.
Yeah,
I did say write an email.
Yeah, I
What?
thought.
Was it an email?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Okay.
Oh, that's my bad. I
So,
didn't
but
know.
even that
Clarify with this.
notwithstanding, go ahead. Sorry, Topper.
Like, was this a technician, or is this someone who has a title like VP of IT or someone in a position of authority asking us?
No, it called out CEO specifically in the.
Yeah, but on
Request.
the asker, and to Matt's
Oh.
point, I think in this case the person assumed they were an authority and speaking from that perspective, not as a technician.
Yeah.
Is the way the letter read. I don't dislike the letter. I would say that we've set them up for this, and I'll have to set those feelings aside because I'd rather have this face to face, one eye to two eyes, right? That's the way I'd rather have this
Sure.
conversation with a
Sure.
CEO like that. Is listen, let's sit down and talk about it. You want to know the number one way people die? Token theft. You don't want me to sit here and ad nauseum explain it to you. I'm going to be turning on MFA. If you don't want to enforce it, you're beyond my risk profile, right? Like
Right.
I don't want to deal with your incidents. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's how we're going to
Yeah.
deal with these incidents in the future. Here's how I'm going to price it.
Right.
Like this is the way this
Yeah.
works.
I'd have said something like, "Hey, I'm coming by Tuesday. Do you have some free time?"
Right. The assume
Yeah.
the close, Martin. Are you doing the assume the close methodology of like I'm going to be
Yes.
there Tuesday?
Yeah,
need my
because
Tuesday, and if on Wednesday you won't be able to get your email unless we get this set up.
most of the time, in my experiences of dealing with client CEOs,
30
and having
seconds. 30 seconds, contestants. Carry on, Kyle.
this type of like conversation about anything really, they're not going to read a block of text that I send to them.
Agreed.
I can barely get them on the phone for 5 minutes. I have to generally show up and be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, sit,
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
schedule.
stay."
Like we eventually
Yeah,
had
it's-
required scheduled Yo-sits, right? Like go ahead, Topper.
Exactly right. I think we're agreeing again. There's no. This should be the same as if accounting or HR tells you this is the way something is happening.
That's time,
It's not
contestants.
optional. You're not asking permission here.
Right. Yeah. And Abby said it well in the chat too, right? You should already have that relationship with your CEO partner. If they don't trust your opinion, blank are you doing leading the IT department? Yep, I would concur.
I mean, absolutely. However, in my experience, no is not a word that's said very often inside of an MSP. At least towards
depending on the
clients.
MSP. Yeah.
Towards clients. Internally, it happens all the time. But telling a client no, or pushing back is generally not something I've had a lot of experience with happening. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it is absolutely something that is missing inside the lexicon in most MSPs.
It's hard for an MSP to say no because it's money they're giving up. Lots of times they feel
But
like
not
not
always,
compliant.
right? Like I don't agree. I mean, Topper and I, one of the nice things about meeting Topper in my life was there was another human I had never met that we didn't work in operational or tactical roles together that was doing the same stuff we were doing. Like, no, this doesn't work for us. I'm sorry. This is what we're going to do or not. And what's so funny is, in my experience, and maybe I'm wrong and I'm the idiot here, when you become authoritarian and they trust you or about things that matter and have data behind it, people just listen. I don't say pick all your battles that way, but I would say some things where it really matters, you can't educate them enough to make them make the right decision. You have to take some of those away. I'll shut up. I'll get off my pulpit. But
I'm with you. Like but the flip side to that is like there has to be a willingness inside the MSP from an owner and executive
100%.
level
Yeah.
to back up a technician and to be willing to say a client.
I have to.
oh wow, you just
I have
straight
to-
cut him off, man. Jeez, like I'll finish
I'm
Kyle's
sorry.
statement.
I'm
If
so
I have to
sorry.
tell a client, no, it's just
I'm so sorry. I had to do it. For the sake of time, Kyle, something personal, and I don't know why StreamYard hits you and Matt. We'll bring you back on, I promise. But for the sake of time, we do need to move on to our next question. So, much love to everyone. All right. Our next scenario, patching shared roles. This corresponds with scenario L. And Martin, I will have you read this scenario, and we'll start the timer and then keep the conversation going.
What is the shared responsibility between an MSP and client around updating systems? What is your process to address when a patch breaks something and takes the client's company down?
All right, 5 minutes on the clock. Contestants, good luck. And we have submissions to our scenario 3. So we'll just call out a few of them and get your responses, judges. The most important part of an asset.
Can we see the judges, or are we just going to show the question?
Oh, yes, of course we can. The judges are all
We're the
here.
voiceover.
There we go. One day I'll have a producer that does all this for me. That'll be great. That'll be
One
great.
day.
Baby steps, right? Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you all. The most important part of an asset inventory is that it is being updated frequently. An asset inventory that is not current is not helpful. It is also important that there is clear ownership both of tasks and assets. That is one of the responses. Judges
I
discuss.
like that. It's a thinking outside the box approach.
Yeah, I think he's not, the human is not inaccurate in that if I have a up-to-date asset inventory and then get good at what I track relational to that asset inventory, then value, right? Like things that would have to be in there in my, well, I don't want to, well, it's done. So things around what data exists there, the sensitivity of those assets, right? Whether those assets have certain protections in place, things that track along that asset inventory to paint a picture around the state and posture of those assets and organizational risk. That would be the things that matter to me. But I agree, having it be up to date gives you the ability that if you are asking for those contextual elements and you have a solid operational plan and methodology to gather that data, then the data itself should be up to date and therefore meaningful. If you had the best ideas of things to track and did it poorly, it would still suck. And so I would agree that that is probably a good solid foundation in my mind.
Awesome. We have another response here. Assets inventory needs to track all the quote unquote stuff that matters to your org. This could be anything with value that we need to maintain ownership of over time. From physical perspective, we need to track assets with financial values so we know our company value for things like tax reporting and the lifespan of devices. How else would you know when to replace something? From an IT view, we need to track everything we need to maintain over time. Devices and their names, serial numbers, assigned owner, OS, access lists. This both helps us know the life cycle of assets and the amount of stuff we have eyes over. The importance comes from you needing to know what you have to cover it. You don't know what you don't know. Keeping as much info as possible helps you recover from incidents too.
Interesting.
That to me puts you too much into the physical thing
Yeah,
view of the world, because I don't hear things like information or
that's right.
that aren't tangible, right? So for MSPs, your access to your clients is an asset that you need to be thinking about.
Yep. I also would say, adding to that, I don't disagree with any of the things they've said. I would say that in the scope of information security, I would want to focus on assets, what data is there, what kind of sensitivity am I looking at? And really, when you think about it, when you look at CIS's definition of what is an asset in 1.1, is anything that has the ability to store or process data. And so now that data may be in categories of meaningless kiosk front end, no access to anything data, or like super keys to the kingdom and Bush Beans secret data. Like it could be those kind of things in variants. And so I would agree with Topper. Too physical, but the physical could lead to an offshoot that deals with this in a way that's meaningful. But I would say you're trying to boil the ocean there too. That's a big ask when
This seems like an internal IT's perspective,
Potentially,
not an MSP
I would agree.
perspective.
But I don't want to discount the value of tying it to
Sure.
money and budget. And so like I agree with you. Yeah, totally. Sorry.
It's just
Cut
from
you off.
I would
the
also
way they were approaching it, it felt like because as an MSP, you start getting more familiar. You rapidly get quicker with different aspects of what is considered an asset than say internal IT, because then you generally just have a machine and a printer. Those are assets, right? That's kind of the thought process that happens until you start getting more familiarity with the data security and processing data and
Sure.
browser security and all that stuff.
40 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen, contestants in the chat. Get your answers wrapped up for scenario number 4. Any closing thoughts on this particular
I have
scenario?
one more comment, Kofi, and that is just be careful getting so into the we have to have a dollar asset or dollar value to it. Like, it's good if you can have it, but the numbers start to become educated guesses at the absolute
Yeah,
best very
100%.
quickly.
Yep.
There's also that continuum from physical asset like truck, computer goes toward the intellectual assets, and then for a developer like me, it goes all the way to like the databases. Like, these are the data,
Sure.
these asset databases. These databases are assets. These backup are assets. Like,
That's time,
Yeah.
contestants. That's time.
manage the track.
I love Jude's question of, do I lose points for wearing my IT Nation hacker hoodie for Melee? No, I would probably say you gain points, but that's a humble flex to try to garner favor from Matt Topper. And I feel like that itself is a loss of points, not the former. It's more-
Amen. Because he's only 1/4 of the vote. You have to put on, MSP Geek and PAX 8 and a Tech ID Manager
I
attire
will
too.
say, having a beard shave coin like this does get points from the judges. I'll just say.
Absolutely.
Just so our contestants know, your responses will be anonymized when the
Tech
judge,
ID manager coins too.
when the judges
I got
evaluate
MSP Geek volunteer coins. I got 3 of them, and I have to make a 4th one for the next
Now
year.
we know
Hashtag
why
plug.
they cut us off scene, I think. Is
Yeah, now it makes sense.
It makes sense now.
All right, we're going to roll into our next question. And we're going to spin the wheel. Big money, no whammies.
We're missing the clicky sounds. Click, 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 click,
Click, click, click, click, click, click, click,
I
click.
don't know. I
click.
don't know.
Boom.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right.
Oh, this is great.
This is question B, scenario B. I'm going to add our guys back to the stage. All right. Who read last? I think it is Topper's turn to read.
My turn. Okay. A role-based access control is defined for technicians at an MSP to allow access to client systems. Technicians are limited to only their team's clients. Nice. Due to scheduling and ticket load, John on Team Alpha needs to help Eric on Team Bravo with a Team Bravo client. How do you get John access to a Team Bravo client? Then, and I'm assuming we're talking administratively, right?
Yeah, I think we can't get technical. Yeah.
All right. 5 minutes on the clock, everybody. And-
Ubering to the site is probably not the right answer.
Yeah.
I
And I'll
disagree.
actually share that this was a Topper and I literal weeks of discussion, Topper. Are we talking weeks
We
about
spent
this?
a long time wrestling with
Maybe
this
too
issue.
long about this, but we had a situation where our Team Alpha, Team Bravo, and Team Charlie in each location needed to be limited. And one of the rules I had was, right, live compromised. I want to live where we limit the blast radius to the limits of our insurance, right? So I'd love to have a compromised technician in Dallas only impact their clients, not the 697 clients we had on roster across all of the orgs at that point. And we tried to define, how do we do that? How do we do it administratively? How do we do it technically? We would ask you to focus more on the administrative components that matter in this. I think getting in the technical weeds would be very situational and extremely contextual. So, but I'd love for you also in your answers to present some of the challenges where this could fail. I'll give points of giving challenges where this can fail. And those were the biggest things we argued over, were the failure points, I think.
I mean,
Well, it's a
I'm
really
easy.
interesting issue that comes up when you start doing things like, do you have centralized escalations team, or do they maintain
Nope.
access to everyone? All sorts of.
We just have one guy in a closet, and he just fixes all the problems.
Yeah.
That's your
All right.
explanation.
While we're waiting for our contestants to respond to this scenario, here is one response to the previous scenario. So back to patching. Responsibility for patching is not shared. It's the MSP's responsibility. Acknowledge there is an issue with the patch. Let the client know your team is engaged to resolve the issue. Stop the push of the patch. Escalate to senior internal techs if possible. Do the best we can to stabilize the environment overall. Apply workaround if possible. Keep the client up to date on progress. Post-incident, root cause analysis if appropriate.
It's a hot take.
I think, yeah, Kyle. I'll give it this. I'll try to give this. I believe that take was meant to speak towards the failure in the patching modality more. But I would actually challenge completely this whole premise, and maybe this isn't the right time for it. I use patching as a shared responsibility because it's probably the purest example of a shared responsibility I can think of. If the client doesn't pay for their Cisco SmartNet, I can't patch it just because I have access to somebody else's Cisco SmartNet. If the client doesn't leave machines on, I can't patch them out of the blue if they're off. If little Johnny gets to run in and say, I'm going to quit every time he has to reboot his freaking computer because it's been 6 freaking weeks, then I am not going to be able to patch. So I would just hard press push those back. That notwithstanding, I think leaning into the components of if we fail, how do we move forward? How do we learn from it? How do we work with patches? I would say that's a decent approach at that problem in my mind. Everybody talking off the ledge here as other judges.
No, I absolutely
got
in
triggered
agreement.
hard on that one.
It's
Yeah.
it's a shared responsibility because while you may have understanding and know exactly how like QuickBooks will function, if you patch that and that goes down at 12:01 a.m., that the client told you to patch it at 12:01 a.m. Like it's a shared system. It's not a delegation of I'm patching you, right? You are contracted to work and do that machine and make sure that machine is up to date and patched, or that software, firmware, what have you. But ultimately, you can only do what you can do, and it's your responsibility up until the point to where you're contractually obligated to be that responsibility. But you have to work your way with the client to make sure they're secure as possible. And you have to educate the client as much as possible. And if something does go wrong, have a plan and a response to deal with it.
I will
One
say,
thing I do really-
I was just going to say, I sent in this response like a deep desire to serve the customer and a
Sure.
willingness to take ownership of their piece of it. Like if I read between the lines a little bit, it's like, oh, that's on us as the provider. But I totally see how it's a shared responsibility in the sense that you have to be able to function. You have to be able to actually do it. And in order to do that, the customer plays a role. So that's my interpretation.
Yeah. And go ahead, Matt.
The one thing I do like about this answer quite a bit is the acknowledgement that there are scenarios where patching is not feasible for business reasons.
It's true.
There
Agreed.
are cases where
Taxing.
something is disruptive enough as a patch, then the right
30
business case
seconds,
is to accept the
contestant,
risk
30
and
seconds.
not patch until that's fixed.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think, yeah, I would agree. I don't have anything to say.
Yeah. So what one things that I've known in the past, as far as contracts for clients, we required them to have a vendor maintenance contract for all of their products,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
that we could update and provide the firmware and installation packages for all that. It was a hard requirement for them. So if you don't have that, I'd probably
did
add
too.
that in there.
Yeah, but I do
All right.
like that point is once that
Time.
is possible and once that is feasible, like I do appreciate their point is now we own this thing and we're going to fix it. I love the root cause analysis. So I wasn't pooping on that part of it. I was just saying, I think there's definitely a, yeah.
All right, excellent.
Shared
We have our
responsibility.
responses coming in for scenario 5. We're going to roll. We have 2 more scenarios to go. So you can pat yourselves on the back, contestants. You've been slogging through this and hanging out with us, and we very much appreciate you. And if you're watching this online or the recording back later, you're a legend as well. So we're going to roll into scenario number 7 and roll the wheel here.
Oh, I'm in the middle now. Look at this. I moved around. Look.
Who knows what's going to happen? I sure don't. I sure
Oh,
don't.
wire fraud. I've never heard of
All right. Scenario letter D, and we'll pull our judges back in.
This is my turn, right?
Yeah, Kyle, go ahead.
A client calls and says they wired $50,000 to an unknown account. How do you proceed?
5 minutes on the clock, contestants. Good luck. And
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've dealt with this one, so I know what I would do. Sadly, I've dealt with this.
Matt, do you remember how many counts we had across all the orgs of named incidents? Perhaps some of them should have been events, but do you remember what the count was? I do. At least when I left.
I don't remember.
When I left, it was 60 something. It was like 67.
Oh, it was more than that.
Yeah,
Once
I
I left.
imagine. But like genuinely, at some point with scale, we were taking in so many of these examples, and you might point a finger and be like, "Well, yeah, you guys must really suck at cybersecurity on your orgs." Like, but we just detected things faster and had a centralized incident response process. Yeah, but taking a lot of
To your
So I've
point,
got
they're
a-
probably overly formal. So some of them didn't need to be
agreed. Yeah,
written as incidents, but I'd rather err that way.
I've got the reverse of this question. I have at least an answer to this question. I have the reverse being a client on the side of this that I
Yeah.
could share once we get to the answers. Just
Nice.
someone remind me because I might forget.
All right, I'm pulling up another response from our previous scenario. RBAC to protect Fallout across multiple teams is great, but this is bloody hard to commit to and execute. Kudos
Whoa,
to getting
this wasn't an argument point, but I don't disagree.
The other scenario we face is what to do during AH support for these teams. SOZ, my audio dropped and I missed the last line. Hoping I got this on track. Options we'd consider. That's hilarious. I'm sorry that you had that experience. Temporary role. Temporary role elevation. Time-bound RBAC role for the support team requiring manager approval.
Nice.
Having this ready to roll in advance may be key. JIT, use a tool to support.
Yeah, baby.
Like MS just in time, having a team specifically prepared for the support mechanism would be another key to enable the fast action, but also along approved lines, not making it up. So have a team always supported by, have team A always supported by team B and team always supported by team D, etc. Maybe we
Escalation
could,
paths. Yeah.
maybe we could step back and consider other options to reduce load than just this avenue. Perhaps the team is missing something and reducing load through another path is better than getting someone access outside the approved lines. That's a question.
I like that. I like that anser. No,
So
I
go.
do.
Yeah, go, Topper.
There's always going to be a need to go outside the team though at some point, right? You have your
Agreed.
VM expert or
Maternity leave.
But what's funny is we ended up doing almost just that, Topper. We merged Team Alpha and Team Bravo to have cross support as a primary structure. So I'll
Yeah.
give award points for that as well. But I like the line of thinking. The line of thinking wasn't just fix this problem, give them access. It was give them access now, figure out a path for it, and then take systemic approaches to not necessarily have to give access, as long as there's also cross forces of if I give all those people direct access all the time, or even JIT, I'm exposing maybe potentially more risk. I will give specific in my point of I love the concept of not only just JIT and just in time or JIT GIA, just in time, just enough, but also auto-timed was mentioned twice, once with an automatic component and another time with the component of saying having a team that deals with these escalations, presumably to be able to deal with the de-escalation component of this.
Yeah.
So I love this answer. Other than the weird pauses and mental state notes, notwithstanding.
I think it's also
It sounded like they lost audio and couldn't hear everything that we had said, although it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on the screen.
Sorry, Spooner. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It was a
no, you're
answer.
good. I like one of the reasons why I like this question format is because there's not a lot of context provided in questions like this, and it opens up thinking, right? Because to me, this is a situation like my initial thought is this situation is something. If someone on Team Bravo is gone, maternity, paternity, vacation, what have you, and we need to pull from Team A, who's not overloaded, to facilitate assistance. So we remove them from Team A and add them to Team B for the temporary time, and that's the process, right? In my brain, that's how it would.
30
function.
seconds, contestants, 30
So
seconds.
it's interesting to see the different perspectives. However, you seem to not have, like Matt Lee, you seem to not want this to happen. And you and Topper's mention of discussion for years about this.
It's not that. It's that there needs to be a plan to know exactly what expansion of risk exists versus like intended versus on drawing on paper. When I draw it on paper and I isolate this pod to that pod or these clients to these clients, it's
That's
fine
time.
to escape that and bring that to Team Charlie. I just need to be able to know that in my mental picture. If I think they're only to this and they actually have all this other access. So for me, it's not about dropping it. It's about knowing when it happens and defining exceptions and having ways those exceptions crawl back to the
Yes.
desired state.
gotcha.
That's where my mind
And you said the key
So-
word. Make it truly an exception, not a
That's right.
normal course of
Yeah.
business.
So in that, you're like giving someone on Alpha is stepping in for the day, and he's just giving access to Team Bravo, and he has both, and you've just doubled your risk for an issue.
That's
potentially.
correct. I now have 50
Okay.
clients that if this
Yeah.
guy gets popped, because what I was thinking about in that case, and I'm sorry if we're holding you all up too much, Skofi, is that I know that my techs could be either internally compromised or could be bad jackasses that do bad things because they've been compromised morally or otherwise. And I have a duty to respond to that insider threat or compromise. And so the best way I could do that was limiting their ability to cause all clients to suffer, and at least being able to argue to that. Because I've had people tell me they hate me. I've had people say that I destroyed their lives. That wears very hard on my heart. And so what I would never want to have to say to somebody is, why did this guy have access to my stuff? Because I was too lazy to limit what they had access to.
I didn't
They should
want
have
to
never
push
had
that.
access in Colorado. Why did they? Well, because I was
Yeah.
too lazy to do it. I don't think that's a
I
financial.
didn't want to fight that battle. I didn't want to. Yeah, I get that, and that happens a lot in all aspects, not just security, but like in everything. Like you're trying to do the right thing as an IT person who's knowledgeable, and it can be very wearing just to try to upgrade your server. You're running on Windows 2000. Please just let's go to 2003. Something.
I have more to say on this topic. I'll write it in the comments because I know we're already over.
Yeah, so I want to interject here just because we have one more scenario and we have like 9 minutes to get through it, and we have a few other things we need to get done. Before we jump into scenario 7, the final scenario, none of this would be possible if we didn't have Tech ID Manager pulling all of this together. So this isn't meant to be a big sales thing, but we really want you to know that we're passionate about supporting MSPs, and Martin's going to share just briefly a little bit about our story. And in a minute or less, he's going to convince you that you should maybe have an additional conversation with him. After this, we'll go into scenario 7. But while we're wrapping up in these last few minutes, this is the first ever MSP Cyber Melee. If you were here from the beginning, it was a little bumpy start technically and production-wise. Thank you for your patience. Do you like this? We would love to maybe see this be a quarterly or an annual competition and maybe go bigger with it and hire Scofie a producer so he can do 2 things at once and not lose his mind. Be prepared to give us some feedback. I'm going to send out a survey at some point in the future, and we want to hear what you'd like to see. And tell us where it was great and tell us where we could be better. Without no further ado, Martin, I'm going to give you the screen for like a minute. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Because we got to pay bills. Like this is the ad in the middle to pay the bills, because this is brought to you by Tech ID Manager, and it was totally unintentional. But the previous question is the problem that Tech ID Manager solves, which is I was hoping would be one of the questions. But like that role-based access, granting access, removing access en masse for technicians across all the infrastructure is what Tech ID Manager does, and it comes from me being in that situation where Matt and Matt were, where technicians needed specific unique access. They needed limited time access. They needed just-in-time accounts. They needed access to all these things, but that access needed to be traced, unique, loggable, addable, and revocable, and also automatically revocable. So that when somebody comes from Team Alpha to Team Bravo for the day, in Tech ID Manager, you can say, grant this person access to these places today only, and then you can forget about it. And at the end of the day, all of their access is removed. And you can layer on top of that just-in-time access for that time frame. You can also do the GG, just like Matt said, where it's just in time, just enough. You don't have to give everybody all access all the time. You can do pods, layers, teams, whatever, with just limited access. Check us out, techidmanager.com. We'd love to hear from you if you want to go there and check out Request a Demo in the top corner of the page. We can cover in much more detail specifics of how Tech ID Manager can help you solve the privileged account management problem that MSPs face. Now, back to the competition.
All right. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I highly recommend you checking out Tech ID Manager. If you're an IT provider and you deal with these privileged account management issues, all of you do, I highly recommend it. All right. For the sake of time, we do need to keep rolling. So we're going to pull up the wheel for scenario 7. Big money, no whammies. Here we go.
Tick, 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 tick.
Oh, what a one to end on. All right. Scenario A. All right, we're gonna pull this up,
Jesus.
and
Back, put it back, coach.
all right, Matt Lee, why don't you read this one off? We'll start the time for our final scenario.
Okay, this is brutal. What is the difference between an MSP and an MSSP? And if you just answer just another S, you and me are going round and round. All right, fair. But also, I might award that.
I have lots of opinions.
5
same.
minutes on the clock.
Same. Oh, did you just say 24 hours? That's delicious. Stop killing 2 out of 5 judges. I agree. Those guys should stay. They're way better than that other guy.
I want to pre-answer this one, so let me know when it's done, because I have the answer. It's just one answer, just for the record. The other judges don't matter. It's just one answer. There's no other answer. This one's like a multiple choice, single statement. That's it.
I don't get me started. I'm not allowed to start.
I think I'm the one who put this question on the list.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it got picked.
It's a horrible question.
It's a perfect question.
Hey guys, I'm not a security person. What is Liam gonna try and do to me?
He's gonna red team you. He's gonna try to penetrate you with methodologies that would be representative of other penetrating actors by using those similar TTPs, and hopefully work with you to determine if your team on the blue side was able to detect those methodologies and was prepared to answer to those actors' methodologies.
I got a problem with that explanation, Matt. There's not enough acronyms that you didn't explain in that. You have to include a bunch of just random acronyms in your explanation. And don't explain the acronyms.
Oh my goodness, this is great. Yeah, Liam, don't.
They're going to
threaten
use
me with this time.
TTPs of known, what would you call them? APTs. They use TTPs of known APTs. Those do have CVEs assigned to those. They'll combine those together in a KC in order to have that KC enact on that, following the Lockheed Martin KC of.
Can you update with TLP?
Oh, bro, TLP. You do have to have traffic light protocol. Oh, I just broke the rules. I just broke the rules, man. Here we go.
Is there a TLDR of this?
No. Don't get penetrated.
Run. Turn off your internet. That's the TLDR.
Pull the
All
power.
right.
So
So
was
we
a TLP question we didn't get.
Yeah, we had 13 questions, and 7 of the 13 you saw, and they were genuinely pulled at random through the wheel. We have 2 minutes and 40 seconds for you guys to finish your answers here. A lot of us probably have hard stops coming up at the top of the hour. Yeah, I'm assuming. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So with 3 minutes left, we're not going to be able to to review some of the answers, at least live like this. But our commitment to you is within 48 hours, we'll be getting scores back, and the champion for the first ever Cyber Melee will be announced. $1,000 Amazon gift card. Once again, I'm really grateful for all of my friends and judges who have participated in this today. Matt, Topper, Spooner, Martin, thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching this and you're participating, thank your judges, because they have a lot of ways they can use their time, and being with us is a big deal to us. But also thank yourself. We want to thank you for participating. And if you thought this was valuable, please tell your friends, because if we do this again, and based on just basic feedback in the chat, looks like we probably should. Jude already, thanks to the Warrior judges putting this together, putting all the time, 100% agree. Gentlemen, final thoughts on the MSP Cyber Melee. Was this good?
I like that one.
Yeah.
I think Martin and Matt Lee are underdressed, considering myself and Matt Topper are wearing jackets.
No, he's right. I have a hoodie. Would that have helped if I just pull on a
No,
Packer hoodie?
it's got to be a sport coat. Look, I'm festive too.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I have badges. So
That's true.
I have those, but they're hidden because I don't have that many.
Yeah.
Look, now you're just showing off.
We have beards.
That's true.
That's what matters.
That's insulting
that is
as someone who's beard challenged, sir.
I'll
That's an
say,
attack.
here's my thoughts, bringing this back to the format. I'll say I like open-ended, contextual, lacking problem statements because it shows me the way someone's thinking. And I think that for me, the most fun will be going through these answers and seeing, were they thinking from the right paradigmatic view? Like, were they thinking from the just purely tactical that doesn't actually necessarily tie into business reasons and things we're going to do? Or do they actually kind of think about it from I've got to solve this actual problem. Let's talk about it in a way that means something. Like, for example, the person that broke it into meaningful right now steps and also long-term scalable, operable steps that move from an administrative perspective. So I like this format. I think it's fun. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
20 seconds, by the way, for your final answer, your final submission, and we'll call time in 15 seconds, actually, just now. I appreciate that feedback and thought, Matt. We're going to wrap up here in 8 seconds as we're done.
You're just trying to fill dead air. We have 8 seconds.
I'm going to start.
Did you
counting
know?
down.
We have 5 seconds.
8,
That's time.
4, 2, 0.
All right. We're going to end the stream and let everybody get back to their busy day. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Contestants, you'll hear from us soon. Thank you for participating in the first ever MSP Cyber Melee. Catch you next time.
Ciao.